Good evening, Professor. In this video, I'll explain my lesson plan, which was created by means of the CLIL approach. But before I actually started with the explanation, let's dive into what CLIL is. As you know, CLIL stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning. But what is this? Well, according to the material and the content you shared with us, it is an approach that combines subject matter learning with language development. This approach is vastly used in bilingual institutions, where the primary goal is, besides learning content, it is to create bilingual students. And that's what I faced during my daily practices. Yeah, anyway. So, but the course, the subject that I decided to focus my lesson plan on was science. But why science? Because science, in my opinion, contains a vast array of topics that we as teachers can use to teach as many language content as possible, subject matter as possible, and at the same time develop as many language skills as possible. This subject is the most suitable for creating bilingual students because by using this subject, we present students with interesting topics, which at the same time are developing our students' English skills. And the topic that I decided to create my lesson plan on was the water cycle. Why did I choose this? Because I actually taught this once, and I really liked what happened during this class that I taught on this topic. This topic is, I mean, this class is meant for elementary schools. It is meant for seventh graders, so the content is not gonna be that challenging nor too low, let's say. So it's just right uh, on the level for students, for seventh graders to understand this topic and at the same time to improve their language skills. So, but let's continue. Now, talking about the four C's of CLIL, as you know, the first one is content, communication, and culture and cognition. Well, the content, I mean, the content objectives that will that I will achieve, let's say, after teaching the water cycle, is gonna be that students will be able to identify each stage of the water cycle. They will be able to explain what happens in each cycle, and as I said, to identify it. So they'll be able to know what stage they are at a certain point during their science experiment that I will explain later. Anyway, and the other objective is that they will explain each stage of the water cycle, ideally in detail, but they will explain the best they can each water cycle stage and its importance. Now, moving on to language objectives, the use of vocabulary. Students will use vocabulary related to the topic in both written and spoken forms. Students will provide explanations on each stage, using the simple present tense. So their explanation will not be as as in detail as possible, but it will be a normal explanation, not in an in-depth explanation, but a normal one, considering their current age and English level. Now, how do I keep balance between subject matter and language objectives? Well, it is important not to teach too much subject matter and leave behind language objectives. We as teachers we need to have a balance to, I mean, so that language matter, subject matter, sorry, and language objectives are, in unison for for our students to learn what we want to teach them. Now, how do I do this? Well, the content and language are enhanced and learned at the same time. We cannot teach more than the other, let's say. Now, subject matter provides the learner authentic materials, authentic and meaningful scenarios for them to practice uh, language use. Now, how is this beneficial for our students? First of all, it improves our students' confidence in using real life, in using English in real life scenarios. Then it increases motivation towards the target language because, as I mentioned, science contains a vast array of topics that we can use to increase our students' motivation and at the same time teach them the language. Now, strategies and activities when carrying out this lesson plan. Well, strategies, the one strategy that I will use is I'll pre-teach vocabulary with flashcards. So I increase my students' probability of understanding the whole class since they will be ready for the vocabulary that is to come during the lesson. Then I'll use as many visual materials as possible to also to increase their understanding as well, because most of our students are visual learners, and it is better to explain a topic or a certain stage, water cycle stage, by using pictures rather than just talking. Now, the activities that I will use is that I will create interactive digital scenarios to reinforce what was taught. I'll do this by using Kahoot or quizzes. Students will emulate the condensation process by using a jar, hot water, and ice cubes. This is gonna be a science project that all students will have to carry out for them to experience what the condensation process looks like firsthand. So it is the best way for them to understand this topic. And finally, assessment methods. Uh, I will conduct short oral and written explanations on the water cycle stages so that I can make sure that my students actually understand each water cycle and what each of them does. Finally, I'll conduct simple quizzes or matching exercises on the vocabulary so I can not only make sure that they understand the topic, but they understand the language that was used to explain the topic. So that way I can make sure that uh, whether my class was a success or that I need to change something to make it a success. So so yeah, that's what I'll do, Professor. I hope that I didn't take too much. Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much for your attention.